Rob, let's go back to basketball, and I'm watching the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. And Boston is up 76-67 with about 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Rob. And the Celtics are just running roughshod over the league right now. They've won 11 straight games, and they've got the best record in the NBA by far. They're 8 games in front of second place Milwaukee. And they're, I believe, 6 games in front of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are the leaders in the Western Conference. So they're running away with this thing. They're on pace to win about 66 games. And, Rob, here's the other thing that's interesting about this Celtics team. They are one of 5 teams, or they've got the 5th highest point differential in NBA history. They're winning their games by an average of 11.4 points a game. They're the only team in the league that's winning by an average of more than 8 points a game. And all the teams, Rob, above them. So the teams that have won, by 11 points or more on average, won championships. The Lakers in 72, that was, of course, Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, and crew. Gail Goodrich, I think, was with that team. And the 71 Bucks of Lou Alcindor, now, of course, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson. The 96 Bulls, of course, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman. And the 2017 Warriors, Rob, with not just Steph, Clay, and Draymond, but, of course, Kevin Durant. They all won championships by winning games by 11 points or more, and the Celtics are joining that group. We'll see if they can win the championship. There's a good article, Rob, written in The Athletic by John Hollinger, former ESPN writer who, was the GM for a moment, worked in the front office for a moment with the Memphis Grizzlies for several years, actually.
Right.
Now writing for The Athletic. But he says, Rob, that the Celtics, this year's Celtics, are in a class with the Warriors of 2017. And he's basing it, his thing was analytics, Rob. And these Celtics, Rob, have the highest offensive rating in the history of the NBA by more than 2 points as far as the rating. But here's the deal, Rob, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 highest offensive ratings in the history of the league are this season. It's because of the three-pointer.
Thank you, Chris. And that's where you pour water on this. And John is a basketball guy, knows more than I know.
And he's straight analytics. I mean,
exactly. That's what you, and the point you just brought up is perfect because it's just a different game. We talk about all the time. Easier to score than ever before, Chris. The three-point shot has made a difference. I'll say this. Somebody do the analytics or the numbers on it to say how many games, Chris, have been blowouts of 15 points or more in the NBA than ever before. Like just the nature of making and missing threes.
Right.
Like I don't know what it is. I could be wrong, but do you know what I'm saying? Like that's part of it. They've won games by 50. They've won games by 30. Like when you start adding those games up and then you do an average, yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
There are way more of those games than I ever remember. I'm sure there were blowouts in the day. I'm not trying to say there were never blowouts, but my God. The Warriors on Sunday or whatever. What day was that? Sunday?
52 points Sunday.
What was that, Chris? Was that was an NBA game?
No, it's I mean, you're right. And it's interesting, Rob, because he talked about it. The Warriors shoot more, the Celtics shoot more three-pointers than any team in the league, and they're in the top 5 in percentage. And he says the great thing about this team, at least while they're running through the league, is because they've got 5 guys on the court. Their rotation of 8 players, they all 8 players can shoot the three. So they spread the floor like crazy. They're shooting threes at a high percentage, almost 39%. And they're spreading the floor, so they're driving lanes for them. And so they're like top 5 in the league in 2-point percentage, too, as far as percentage of their 2-pointers they make. And I've said it, Rob, the thing I'm wondering about with them is if the threes go cold, and we know in the playoffs they let you play a little more, what will happen to the Celtics? And we'll see. We'll find out. But I think here's the question, Rob. Why, like when the Warriors in 2017 were running through the league, or even 2016 when they won 73 games, didn't win the championship, but when they were running through the league in the regular season, we felt like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable what we're watching. Why don't we feel that way with the Celtics? My theory is this, because we've seen, even though they're young, we've seen their core of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown fail too many times in the playoffs.
Right.
Until they get it done, right, we're going to be skeptical. I'm not saying they can't win it this year. I'm just saying that's why we're not all like, oh my gosh, this is incredible.
Yeah, it's ingrained. It's definitely ingrained where you were like, I was buying into the Celtics for the last couple of years and nothing's happened. So I'm not going to buy in. I'll wait. And when they get over that hump, if they can finish the job, which there's no guarantee they can even finish the job. They could do everything that they have done, Chris, come out of the East and lose to Denver in the finals.
Absolutely.
Like that's what could happen.
Yeah, and they play Denver Thursday. And let's hope that all the stars play. But I can't wait to see that one. I think it's going to be a really good barometer as to where, I
hope
the Celtics
so. We're in
really
March
are.
now. The playoffs are next month.
Yep. But no, I agree. I think that's why, Rob, we're like, okay, they look good. And they're shooting jump. Now, what was interesting in the article too, Rob, is he brought up how with the Warriors in their heyday, you really had two guys who were bombs away from three. Steph and Clay. Draymond, we know, didn't shoot a lot of threes. Kevin Durant, for as great of a shooter as he is, doesn't shoot a lot of threes. I would say doesn't shoot enough threes. I mean, and I get that a player has to have his rhythm. And if your shot is that 17-footer from the elbow area, or, that's where you're most comfortable, hey, and you're as good and successful as Kevin Durant, do you, baby. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
But I will say this, Rob, in the offseason, you got time to work on your three. And especially by this point in his career, I'm just going to call it like it is. He should be shooting more threes, and if he doesn't feel the rhythm enough to do it, that's his fault. Rob, Kevin Durant takes 5 threes a game.
And especially, Chris, he's playing in this era where he could have evolved instead of just settling for what is comfortable for him. And who knows, and I'm just, if he took a couple more threes, when he stepped on the line against the Bucks, they might have been up by 3. You know what I mean? Like because he had made
he might have been more comfortable in that spot where he doesn't get his foot on the line.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like I know that I'm just being
right, but honestly, I think there's a little truth there. Rob, he's shooting 42% from 3. That's incredible.
And all you got to do is mix in maybe Chris, right? He's just shooting 5. Give me 8. Can you
that's
shoot 8?
That's all I'm asking for.
So instead of
any good shooters in the league today
on 3 of those shots that you take.
Any good shooters in the league today, Rob, they shooting 8. Jason Tatum shooting 8.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want him to shoot 11.
Luka's at 10.
Right? 8 is good.
Yeah. I mean, LeBron James, I know LeBron's up here somewhere. LeBron's only shooting 5.4. That's still more than Durant. But he's even shooting more. So, but the point is that great team. So Durant was killing you in the mid-range. Draymond was playmaking, not shooting threes. And then they generally had a big in there as that 5th guy, and he wasn't shooting threes. And so you really only had Steph and Clay shooting threes. And so the floor wasn't as spread out. And so it was tougher to guard or easier to guard you. Rob, we talked about how it's easier to score today.
It just is.
There are people around the NBA now saying it's almost impossible to defend because the floor is so spread out. And if I can't hand check you, these guys handle the ball so well. And even if you don't handle it incredibly well, it's still, you've got the advantage to beat your guy off the dribble when the ball's moving. And so it's tough to guard the Celtics, and it's tough to guard in the NBA today when you got to get out there to 23 feet and try to keep the man in front of you. And if he drives and they double, then you just kick it to the open man. And so it's going to be interesting, Rob, to see what the NBA, do they do anything? I mean, I got to be honest, and you know we both been critical of analytics, but we've never said it's not important and it's not valuable.
Right.
But and I will say this, in basketball, and really, Rob, we could kind of say it in baseball. The switch was smart strategically, right? But it just took away from the excitement of the game.
Right.
And right now in basketball, Rob, in the NBA, teams are so smart offensively. They're, for the most part, there's still some mid-range shooting. But they are shooting threes, or they are in the paint, or they're getting fouled and going to the free throw line. Those are the three most efficient ways to score the basketball. And teams are focused on those. And with the floor spread out, it's easy to either get a three or get a paint shot and drive and get a paint shot or get fouled. And that's why the scoring is up so high, and it's hard to defend these guys. And it'll be interesting. Does the NBA want to stay with this, Rob, or does it get to a point where they say we gotta kind of, get this under control?
I know I saw that comment by Joe Dumars, right, saying that they're going to take a look at it, Chris.
Yeah,
because I think that they need to take a look at. We don't want to go back to the early 2000s.
No.
That's not what we're talking about.
As much as we talk about the old days, we do not want 70, 80,
nobody
90
wants
point
that.
games. No.
But nobody wants 160 every night. Like that.
Yeah.
There's got to be a happy medium somewhere,
Right.
and you got to be fair to the defenders.
Right.
That they have a shot. They have no shot of stopping anybody.
It's like baseball, Rob. We don't want softball.
We don't want
We don't want
softball.
15 to
and we
13
saw
scores regularly.
softball. It was a strikeout or a home run for a while, and now
Right.
that's changed. And what happened? Attendance went up.
It was good.
Ratings
Right.
went up. It was good for baseball, the changes that they made. We got base stealing, Chris. We got hit and run. We got balls going through the hole in the infield. That's what we want.
This is the thing, Rob. If the Celtics win this year, doing it the way they do, I mean, almost half their shots are threes. Then what everybody's, of course, is going to copy them. Everybody's going to copy them. And then in 5 years, man, it's just going to be, teams going to be shooting 50 and 63s a game. And so it's interesting.